Buzz Lightyear, do you copy? Buzz Lightyear, do you copy? We're about to be approaching onto the Galactic Federation, but even then though, we're about to blast off up to space. So even then though, meet me up there. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Daffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Let's Play of Pac-Man World for the PlayStation. So, last time we did manage to able to fully completely done with, the first two levels in the space world. In addition with those two levels, we also managed to able to deal with the forms of the next boss in the game, which appears to be, I would say I changed my mind for a slightly degree, because even then I will get to that specific point until later on though, but even then we also managed to deal out with the forms of Anubis Rex, in this case my second difficult boss fight in this game so far though, because, well, at least in that particular boss fight, it does always use some checkpoints after about a certain amount of hits, but nothing compared to the next boss fight coming up. But even then we'll get to that at certain points. So even then though, here we go with the forms of the next level in the forms of the space world, and that is Gimme Space. So even then though, because, well, you know, that's as far as I can usually describe about this kind of stuff, so either way though. And eventually for this episode is the fact that, speaking of Gimme Space, is that we're about to be fully, well, might as well finish up with the forms of the space world. So even then though, now after space world has been fully completed, then we can able to move on to, well, the next world after this. So even then though, in this case, we almost nearly at the very end of the first half of the game. So even then though, to be expected that it gets a little bit tricky and difficult, and also makes the majority of the levels sometimes makes it a little bit longer in comparison. But even then though, I don't mind about it too much about it, but it's just that, oh really? I think I might have jumped a little bit too further away from that kinds of stuff. Hey, but you can also manage to stand onto these little plasma balls until you're able to actually make your safety precautions or anything like that. However though, these little plasma balls, they're in a 2D sprite, not in a 3D sprite. But even then I just want to point things out right away. Oh wow, I just managed to clip for that like nothing else. But hey, at least I might as well take it, I suppose. So today's day is the forms of the 8th of September in 2019. So tomorrow, about the fact that there's gonna be quite a few things that's about to be happening during tomorrow, is that, well, first of all, the North American's release of the Sega Dreamcast will be about 20 years old by that time, which I don't know if I was going to do a video dedicated to it. And also, the forms of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 7 UK DVD compilation will be out during tomorrow. So even then, once that's been released, well, we've only got about 2 more seasons to go until the actual Friendship is Magic completion set will be entirely completable. So even then, that makes it a little bit obvious for that point right there. Why did I jump in too early? God dang it. Oh well, but at least even then I got the checkpoint right there, so what really matters to me though. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just continue things on. And from here we need to actually activate the, well, at least we got ourselves an extra life back, so at least that's the only good thing about it. So yeah, we do need to activate those 2 switches as soon as we can, because nonetheless though, you can able to actually continue proceeding for this particular level. So, because yeah, the main purposes of this level right here is the fact that, well, there's going to be some teleportation devices, which as you can see on this little shiny effect, basically what that represents is the actual teleportation between these different transmissions between certain parts of the level. So even then though, because of that though, yeah, don't mind about it too much though, but then again, it gets a little bit tricky and difficult as you progress through the actual game, especially when trial and error annoyances were able to come in. But even then, that's just besides the point. So, another thing I want to talk about this, actually, is the fact that, oh, goodness gracious, that was close. For a moment there, I first thought I was going to get myself screwed over due to the, you know, the depth perception on one hand. But on the other hand, though, I managed to able to actually ignore that kind of stuff completely. And also, I just managed to skip that little laser section right there by able to actually go for that specific matter. So, at least I don't mind about it. But anyways, let's go ahead and be very careful right there, especially that, you know, with these little aliens, so I forgot to mention about this during the last video. Apparently though, oh really? The stupid meteor shower. Oh jeez, this man's able to surprise attack on me. Oh Jesus Christ. Anyway, you know, with these little alien, enemies right there that we've already saw from the likes of the previous stages on the space world, to be more specifically far out. Basically you can't able to actually deal with them unless there is a method of attacking them, but I just don't know how I supposed to attack them, like, properly. But even then, I was might as well able to skip those entirely. But anywho though, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, oh son of a biscuit! I always failed on that butt bouncing sequences right there. Oh jeez. I mean, I can't even judge the distance correctly. But either way though, I'll get to my final thoughts of it though whenever we get to the very end. Well, compared to Pac-Man World 2, and I don't know about Pac-Man World 3 because I haven't really get a chance to play that game just yet though. But even then, it might be a little bit more of a sort of a prequel to Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, that terrible game that's this. But either way though, we'll get to that point and during the prospective years or what have you. So, alright, so let's go back because now we grab the pair and hopefully everything else will be super insufficient right there. So either way though, recently I managed to able to play myself by the forms of well, my Nintendo Switch on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it looks like I've almost pretty much concluded my challenges list. And I will say though is that the challenges list on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate might be the easiest of the forms of the challenges listed so far. Well, not as nearly as difficult as a little bit on Smash Bros. For the 3DS because of, well, sometimes though, getting these little customized movesets as well as the actual costumes for the Mii costumes might be a little bit more random and luck-based kind of thing about it. And nothing compares to the forms of that toughest Wii U set of challenges because, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe they make the challenges on Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U significantly tough and difficult compared to the forms of Smash Ultimate, because at least in Smash Ultimate you can able to actually max out your Smash Hammers count, so that way you can able to actually just to use them wisely. But even then though, I mainly use it for likely tougher like challenges, like to be more specifically, compete in about 200 quick matches on you know, during the quick matches and all that such, which sometimes it might take a while because some of these opponents might appear out of like, I don't know what to explain about that. But even then, I think I've already got about 5 challenges left on during the challenges list whenever I play Smash Ultimate on my own time. And seems kind of thinking about it though, because well, I've managed to accomplish intensity 9.9 difficulty right now, or in this case about a couple of days ago. And seems more accurate though, the only character I managed to use the majority of the time is predictably Ganondorf, because well, he is so much more better than he forms of how it does it on that clone moveset from the likes of Captain Falcon from Brawl, or the Melee, or even the likes of the Wii U and the 3DS. That's not to say Ganondorf is bad or anything, it's just that, well, sometimes though, clone characters might be not be official or anything like that. So, anywho though, aside from that though, there's not much else I can really say about this, to be honest with you guys, apart from the fact that, well, you know, we're just actually almost at the very close at the halfway point of this game already, so at least even then though, I hate jumps like that, because usually I said this before, just because it's so hard to able to judge the distance, or even the actual depth perception or anything like that, because it's hard to judge the distance between those kinds of stuff, so that's the only thing I seriously did not even like about it. But anyway though, I think the end of the level right there is just onto that specific section right there, because you know with that path I've already been into, I think this will able to lead me to the Galaxian or something. Well, in this case, by default to that particular, well, that sprite or something. So even then though, once again we can now able to access to the bonus level right now, so even then though, that way we could able to actually hopefully gonna be able to do this in a much more better attempt than the forms of how it does it on the first 2 attempts, because I swear to God, I did not even notice about the fact that I didn't jump in at the right moment. But Hopefully, though, this time around, though, we can able to make it a little bit more better, especially noticeable I'm pretty much used to at this point. So, either way, though, there's not much else to tell. So, even then, though, and eventually at this point, until tomorrow, I will be able to actually get back onto Yoshi's Woody World before we're able to actually jump into Yoshi's Crafted World at some point next year. So, either way, though, that makes things a little bit more happening. So, either way, though, yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and grab these last few fruits, and not to mention a extra life. And there we go, we got ourselves 100% on that particular level. So, or in this case, for that particular bonus level, as far as you might as well know. And, I guess that's pretty much all things considered, and we actually got about 30 extra lives, so I think we are pretty okay as it is, though, especially for the, especially whenever we get to the harder levels throughout. But even then, we'll, oh, wow, nice, top notch. We got ourselves a cherry nonetheless, though, which, if you manage to get 3 cherries in a row on that specific slot machine, you get yourselves, just an extra life, so... I don't know about any other rewards though, aside from the actual, like, cherries, which, as I said this before, it'll give you an extra life if you know, link it up for about 3 of the cherries each, so... Anywho though, there's not much else I can really say about this for the most part though, apart from... let's just go ahead and save our game quickly, so just in case we don't get coming towards this frustrating moment, and we got ourselves 39%, which is not that high compared to the forms of how it does it on, some other playthroughs of the game, because, well, I was able to actually originally try to go for those mazes, but most of the time with these trial and error mines, then, you know. Oh god, I remember this boss fight right there, King Galaxian. Let me tell you right off the bat though, at least to me though anyway though, this is by far the hardest boss fight to me in the whole entire game. In this case, one of my least favorite bosses in the whole game. Like, I really do not like this level. Although, the actual concept of this level is actually pretty cool because, well, as you can see, that we're actually going to be playing Galaxian for a while, because as a result, Pac-Man is going to be able to actually ride on this little particular hoverboard ship, and your objective on this is the fact that you can able to actually shoot as many of those enemies as you could, before you're doing up with the forms of King Galaxian. So, the actual concept on this level is pretty cool, but what makes this a really difficult level, and I will say this is probably the hardest boss fight in the whole entire game, well, you can definitely tell why whenever we get to that specific point. Luckily, there will be checkpoints later on though, but Jesus Christ, look how much blast radius they keep on throwing at you. Which, either way though, that is generally by far the most difficult level in the whole entire game to me though. And most of the time, it's not as easy to able to actually control the actual ship sometimes, because I swear to god, it is so specific, and especially noticeable, it's like super slippery at the same time. Well, not as slippery as Luigi's slippery traction from the likes of the 2D Mario games, but it's pretty close. I mean, seriously, how can you expect to able to actually avoid these kinds of stuff like this? Either way though, that's not much else to really just try and talk about. But anywho though, something I just want to mention about this kind of stuff, whenever when the actual, like, new set of Let's Plays, as well as the forms of some redo Let's Plays for the time, you remember with the forms of how the fact that we did manage to done through Mario Party 1 and 2, from, you know, during back in about a long time ago, you probably noticed about the fact that that particular set of Let's Plays was no longer in our channel, because at the end of the day though, we'll mention more now whenever we get to that point, but I'm pretty sure we can able to do these two redo Let's Plays at some point during the likes of it next year in 2020, which appears to be the celebration for the 20th anniversary of the Mario Party 2's UK's release date, especially with the Americans' release date too. And heck, even with the forms of recently for the likes of this year, there will be the 20th anniversary of Mario Party 2's release date for Japan. So even then, though, that should be pretty exciting all in all. But even then, though, we'll hopes and dreams about that. Well, I don't know why I truly say that, but even then, we'll just keep on moving for this for the most part, though. And yeah, we've already got a checkpoint though, so at least we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff for the time being. But obviously you have to avoid a lot of some of this stuff right there. Which I will admit though right away though, that dodging a lot of those enemies is not as easy to do. But anyways, we got ourselves a King Galaxian right about now. So basically, he has like 4 weak spots, you know, just like in the Anubis Rex. And also that just like in the actual Galaxian, or in this case for that particular item from Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS, Wii U, and Ultimate, it does that little drag you into its mouth attack. Well, except the fact that it takes you, in Smash Bros. It takes you all the way up to the screen, or all the way up to the screen. But in this game, I think it might actually eat you, and I think you instantly die because of that. I haven't really tried that out for myself because, well, I just really can't afford to able to actually show that off for all that trial and error and stuff. But anyway though, as I said before, that this guy actually has like 4 weak spots, or in this case 4 weak points, just like the Anubis Rex. But at least in Anubis Rex, it does able to actually offer you some checkpoints every time you deal with the actual weak spot. However though, if you somehow die to the forms of King Galaxian, well, to make matters even much more difficult than that, even in comparison to the forms of the cheapest attacks on during the likes of Anubis Rex, every time you die to this boss fight, well, you need to restart for that whole entire segment all over again, which either way though, that makes it a little bit more tedious and frustration as far as it will go. But even then, because of this though, I think this is, to me, is one of the most difficult boss fights in the whole entire game, at least in my opinion, because, well, I know some people seem to find this a little bit easy and simple, but I just really can't stand this guy, because, well, it is cool as a concept, as I said before, but what makes this a little bit annoying and difficult as it goes, because, well, it just gets a little bit more cheap deaths than more than anything, because either way though, now we're gonna able to actually, God dang it. Yeah, you see what I mean right there, that basically, every time you get into the 4th and final segment, why is it always the 4th and the final segments that gets, like, super difficult as it is? But, if I failed at least one more time on that particular point, then I'm also able to actually do a jump cut and then just able to actually get to this last phase or something, because, seriously, who would you expect to able to actually dodge some stuff like this? Well, I get it because it's like a reference to the forms of Galaga as the actual arcade game, usually made by the same developer, which is the forms of course, Namco as the forms of that particular company. But either way though, that will able to actually just to point things out, so... Anyways though, so let's try this again, and hopefully we can able to actually just kill this little guy right there. And although the best strategy for this is the fact that if you really want to able to kill the one of those eyes potentially, you always have to mash either X or circle button until you're able to actually shoot it rapidly. Because if you shoot it just, if you press only a button at least once, basically you'll do a little bit of damage on that specific blast radius. So either way though, there's not much else to say about the forms of this guy. So even then, because of this though, I just think this is by far this is the most difficult boss in the whole entire game to me. Because, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of attacks that you need to avoid, and then sometimes I found the actual attacks on, well, not so much for Galaga himself, but to be more accurately, more of those enemies that he's keep on sending out, I found it very unpredictable at times, because most of the time, if I was trying to able to actually just to keep my health alive, specifically, imagine how the fact that if you get like 4 units of health, then basically that if you die at least like 4 times or yeah, just 4 times in general, then, well, you have to go for all that slog again and all that stuff. Thankfully, you don't have to deal with the entire beginning portion of the boss fight, though. Well, you do need to go for the entire portion of this boss fight in general, at least as far as for that, you know, specific agreement. But nothing compares to the forms of boss number 5, and especially the final boss of the game, which we're not gonna mention about that too much, but even then I will have to, like, focusing on King Galaxian as it is, so... Oh boy. I remember that dreadful time whenever I was not able to play this boss fight back in 2011, and I just got super frustrating at the same time too, because no matter what though, how many times I got to this section right there, obviously I always gonna get wrecked just because of how the fact that sometimes the actual attacks can be very unpredictable, and especially noticeable that to make matters worse, if you somehow got cornered by some of these attacks like this, basically there's no way you can able to get enough breathing room at you. And as a result of that kinds of stuff though, well, again, you'll drain your lives very, very fast and quickly. Well, it might be pretty difficult than Anubis Rex for sure, so... Son of a biscuit! Okay, there we go. Now on to the fourth and final segment again. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. You just have no idea how much stuff I've been through for all that kinds of stuff. But anyway though, yeah, because with these little enemies right there, they now actually introduce into ourselves these very annoying bubble shields or anything like that, because you also need to take those shields down before you deal with them properly, because as a result, then, well, you obviously gonna get wrecked by any second or another. But either way though, I think this might be the only time, well, aside from, you know, the very first boss fight in the game, which is HMS Windbag, that will be the only time that we actually come across into those fruits, apparently. So that way you can able to actually get more extra lives, assuming if you keep on getting wrecked by the King Galaxian himself. But anyways though, I think we deal with all the enemies now, so I think we should... Oh, no, don't you ever freaking dare. Don't you dare try to kill me at the end. Come on. There we go. Oh, Jesus Christ. Screw you. Screw you, King Galaxian. Screw you. At least the explosion effects can be a little bit creative, but still. Ay. I died about I would say 3 times on this boss fight. Well, at least the beginning portion of the actual boss, and also the actual twice on that particular fight itself. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyway though, so that takes care of the forms of King Galaxian. I'm probably not going to touch that boss fight ever again, because let me tell you, it is so downright frustrating at the same time. And at least even then, we got ourselves a whole bunch of extra lives back, so at least we actually got those. And I think that takes care of Space Worlds to top it off as well. So even then though, that pretty much takes care of the first half of the game as well. So, I believe we're now going to be moving on to the second half of the game, where we're now going to be able to open up those 2 worlds, which are essentially, if we manage to have a brief look at it before the actual video is about to end. So, either way though, yeah, that's as far as I can try to say about this for the most part, so... Anywho though, so, yeah, we can now able to actually explore for this part of the actual world map, which in this case we can now explore through the circus world, which as you can see is full abundance of clowns and everything like that. As well as from that, we also have a factory world here now too. So in this case, we got the ending stuff at this point here, so join me next time on Let's Play Pac-Man World, is that we're going to be able to get things started with the 4th world in the game, which appears to be by the forms of the circus park, or in this case, the circus world, or circus funhouse, or something like that. I don't know if it's named to sure, so see you guys next time. Later, fellas.